And on the lion, there stands a man with a cross.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? I mean, as a former Muslim, right? You've converted to the faith. Your cross is here. How do you feel about this? My name is Stefan Tompson. I'm the founder of Visegrad 24. I'm here with my friend, with Ridvan Aydemir, better known as the Apostate Prophet. Ridvan, we wanted to summarize the rally. We wanted to summarize what happened. We've come up with a few points. The first big thing, I think the main conclusion that we both have is the silent majority is no longer silent. It pitched up.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have seen great attendance, so much motivation, so much power, so much strength, people flooding there, speaking up, and people being really upset that they are being controlled, that they have people making decisions over them who are not in line with what they believe in at all. We have people who don't want to vote anymore because they don't really believe it changes anything, come out and finally speak their mind.
Yeah.
Because they want to actually show that they want change, and they want to force people to listen to it, to hear it. They don't want to be ignored anymore. So that was a fantastic demonstration of just that.
And Dom Tarczyński, the Polish MEP, better known as Mr. Zero.
How many refugees has Poland taken?
0.
He really hammered that home in his speech. You know, he kept repeating this concept that the silent majority, the conservative, not even conservative, just common sense, right? Yeah. So much of what we believe in is we're not radicals. We're just common sense people who agree that there is a set of values that stems from Christendom that we should all adhere to because that makes society better. So I think that was a major takeaway of yesterday.
Because we are not a silent majority anymore. We are not silent. Let me hear you, lions.
Yeah, there is a thing here, a sentiment in the West that is where the people who are native to the culture very much feel like they are intimidated into being silent and subservient and just doing whatever the organizations of the world and the politicians tell them to do.
Yeah.
They are told not to be proud. They are told not to be too loud about their pride. They are told not to raise their flags, not to wave their flags. But now we have the flags, the colors being raised all over the United Kingdom, and we had them very largely, very, very nicely, wonderfully, beautifully raised yesterday at the event. They were everywhere.
This links in really well with the second observation that we both had, which was not just the flags were raised, but also Christian crosses.
Yes.
I can't really think of other demonstrations. Obviously, my native Poland is a Roman Catholic country. Mass demonstrations of conservatives usually have a religious aspect to them. Mm-hmm. But this is not true for anywhere else in the West. We haven't seen this. Yesterday, there was a vigil for Charlie Kirk outside of Whitehall. One of the chants in between speeches that kept returning is Christ is King, yeah. Christ is King, being chanted out repeatedly.
Christ is King, Christ is King, Christ is King.
At the rally yesterday, there was a religious presence. There were a few pastors, a few priests, and there was an incredible image from Trafalgar Square on one of the 4 lions that surrounds Nelson's column of all of these. And the British flag, you've got to give it to the Brits. Their Union Jack is a beautiful, beautiful flag. And on the lion, there stands a man with a cross.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? I mean, as a former Muslim, right? You've converted to the faith. Your cross is here. How do you feel about this, Ridvan?
I think it's amazing because so in the West, over the whole liberalization and secularization of society, with the adoption of liberal ideas, we had this diminishing and pushing away and pushing back and burying of religious identity and religious sentiments. So it has very much become common in the West to protect all other religions and to allow other religions to be completely amplified and waved into everyone's faces, while Christianity is being subdued, and while Christians are taught to just keep it low, not to make a fuss about it and all that. I thought about something yesterday, which is I lived in Turkey for a while,
yeah,
and I now love Orthodox Christianity, and to Orthodox Christianity something that is very central is the Hagia Sophia Cathedral.
Now obviously first turned into museum, recently turned into a mosque once
Exactly.
again.
So when it was turned into a mosque over the recent years, there were lots of pleas by the Orthodox Church and by others to not do it, for global organizations to interfere, to say something, to do something. But the Turkish government, appealing to their national pride and their religious Islamic pride, said, "Hey, it belongs to us. We don't care." So they just turn it into a mosque. This is how they think. They say it belongs to us. We do not care. We are proud of our own religion and our own nation. And if we have conquered you, then deal with it.
Ayasofya'nın kubbelerinde yeniden tekbir, tehlil ve salavatların yankılandığı, minarelerinden ezan ve salaların yükseldiği gündür.
We have a very opposite sentiment here in the West, usually, which has been perpetuated not by the common people, but by the elites and by the governments and so on, which is that we shouldn't be proud, we should always give in, and so on. I feel like there is a huge return to what used to be, which is to be proud, to feel at ease, to feel happy with the religious identity. And it doesn't have to be something negative. You know, yesterday when people came out and they waved their flags and they showed their crosses, it wasn't about opposing other religions. It was about affirming Christianity, affirming Christian values. That's what it needs to be. That's what it should be. That's what's lacking, and that's what's coming back.
This makes me think of two quotes. The first one is, "Tolerance is the virtue of people with no opinions." And the other one that that was very moving after Irina Zarutska's murder by DeCarlos Brown Jr. in Charlotte is, "You deserve what you tolerate." How strong is that? Isn't that an incredibly strong quote?
It is very much
You
so.
had a third observation that we didn't share. Mine was about the Overton window being smashed or stabbed to death or shot in the neck with Charlie Kirk's assassination. It links into what sort of yours, which explain what you meant to me when you were telling me that as you obviously feel you're a minority, right? Like one of these sort of, right? That you felt that you, as a Muslim, as a former Muslim, you had to speak up and say what European or American right-wingers weren't able to say.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So here's the thing. I am obviously not, white Western European. I am of a different origin. I am of Turkish origin ethnically, of Muslim origin religiously or culturally, and so on. But I love the West. I am very much Westernized. I'm proud to be American. I grew up in Germany and so on. So I love these things. But my observation for the longest time, and many like me have always observed that in the West, it is up to people like me, people who are not white European, to speak up and to say what white Europeans are afraid of saying, because they might be labeled racists or Nazis or bigots or whatever it is. So people like me would have to come and say what the common people are kind of ashamed or afraid to say because of the backlash. Yesterday, however, there was something very interesting. There was a lot of pride and a lot of speeches, not from people like me, representing the minority, having to speak up for those who can't speak up, but rather you had a lot of natives, a lot of Europeans, a lot of British people, and people from other European nations come and speak up. And I was so happy to see that, because you see that the people are finally sick of sitting there and being shamed into silence. They are here to speak because they don't want to be silent anymore. And if this means, for example, I would say that to a large part I have become relevant as a public speaker and influencer, because the native people wouldn't speak and I would speak for them. I would be happy to be more irrelevant and to see the natives, the people, speak up and say what we all think and feel. And I feel like yesterday was a great starting point for just that.
Patriots, my friends.
Ava Vladenherbrook pushed the Overton window further again.
Change is possible. Remigration is possible, and it is up to us to make it happen.
The concept of remigration was completely niche. I mean, it was a taboo that no one dared even approach. She stood on that stage, openly said, "We are Generation Remigration."
We are Generation Remigration.
And the other thing that really happened, I think this is my final observation from yesterday. I've known Tommy for over a decade. when I knew him, just people knowing that I was friends with this man was a violation of some sort of social code, right? Yesterday, he stood on a stage with about 40 speakers, including major European politicians. I mean, the French leader of Reconquête, Éric Zemmour, was there. One of the leaders of Lams Belang was there. Dominic Tarczynski from Law and Justice was there. And Elon Musk joined on a live stream. I mean, the wealthiest man in the world was there yesterday. 2 million people were watching live. So this observation is two in one. It's Tommy has been normalized, and Elon Musk's repeated statement of, you are the media now, we are the media now. We forced the mainstream media to cover this event. They would have loved nothing more than to say, oh no, nothing happened in London.
None of this could have happened without you giving the British public access to the truth and giving us free speech and fighting for our free speech. So on behalf of Great Britain and the British public, we're incredibly grateful, Elon.
You're most welcome.
They were forced because 2 million people were watching the live stream on X. Every single one of the people there was there with their phone, filming it, posting it to their Instagram stories, posting it to their Facebook, to their X accounts, to their YouTube channels. There were hundreds of mini content creators, including obviously the two of us, maybe a little bit bigger than mini now, getting somewhere, slowly but surely. But essentially, the observation is this. We can normalize things. We can make common sense common again. We can force, the same way the media spent years normalizing, attempting to normalize the abnormal, be it gender ideology, the normalization that mass migration is something we have to live with, the fact that terrorism is part and parcel of living in a large city, as the mayor of this great city told us, Sadiq Khan.
What I do know is part and parcel of living in a great global city is you've got to be prepared for these things.
We are now normalizing common sense again. We are telling people, you can be normal. We are normal. That's my great conclusion from yesterday.
That was already fantastic. I'm not sure what else to add here, but I will add a few things.
Sure.
Very, very few things. So there was a time when, a while ago, people were making fun of Tommy Robinson. They were laughing about him. I brought up Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan famously, he blocked Tommy Robinson at some point and said, I don't ever want to have him on my show.
Yeah.
Right now, Piers Morgan is begging Tommy Robinson to come on his show. And Tommy Robinson says, I have more important things to do. So we had the media laughing and thinking, oh, this is all irrelevant. It will all, go away and all that. Right now, the media is forced to talk about this. I went to my hotel room, I turned on the TV, and everybody was talking about the rally in London.
Yeah.
We have people talking about this. We had the government buildings, the government forced to observe the major, massive rally. This is a huge movement. It is not to be underestimated. They made the mistake of underestimating it. They shouldn't make the mistake anymore. This is now becoming mainstream.
Ridvan, always such a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Same.